Today we're going to talk about how to replace the front differential in your Traxxas UDR. First thing you're going to want to do, remove the body shell, which is the 2mm 12 screws. And now you can just pull it off. Alright, so the next step is we're basically going to cut the truck from the firewall forward. And what that means is Traxxas actually makes this truck a two-piece modular. So the whole front end of the truck will separate so you can service the transmission or the diff or whatever you need to do easier. So the first thing you're going to do, flip the truck over. So now that you have the truck upside down, what I do recommend is having bags or boxes for certain parts just to make your organization easier so you don't get the wrong lengths. So you're going to remove these two bolts here, or screws, these two, and then the countersunk ones right here and right here. And then to make this easier, what you're going to want to do is actually remove this bottom plate as well, because it sits underneath this. Alright, once you get all those out, it's as simple as scooting it back to reveal everything. And then because there's so many screws and so much going on with different length screws on this vehicle, I just like to thread things back in to where they came from so that I don't lose them, or I put a M10 screw in an M8 hole and I cross thread something, because then it's just not a fun time. So that's just what I do, just a little tip. You don't have to do it. A lot of people just put them in a bin and figure it out as they go. I find it takes a lot less stress and a lot less time just to throw them in a couple of threads. So the reason you have to remove that lower plate is because you have to get to the servo linkage to undo it, to completely disassemble this front end. If you're just going to move it out a little bit to get all the bolts to replace the gears and the diff, you don't have to take that plate off to do it, but I would recommend it because I like to kind of separate things. So I'm going to take this all the way out and work on it as an assembly versus trying to work on it on the truck. So once you remove those screws, you'll notice that the longer ones go in the rear, shorter ones in the front. Just keep that in mind. I like to actually put these bolts put them like how they are installed in the vehicle. It helps me out with the reassembly. Next thing that you're going to do is remove this guy right here and swing this servo arm out of the way. And then since again, just thread that one right back in there so that you don't lose it, because that's an important one. It's a certain type of thread pitch and it's slotted so that you can fit that in there. So after that, it is on to these ones and corresponding one on the other side. Now do note that these ones are not countersunk like the others, so just don't get them mixed up. So now for the final time, turn the truck back over. So now that you got the truck turned over, these four, boom, 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 and boom. Not the ones on the actual diff, but the ones that hold the roll cage on. So what you're going to notice with these is they're not going to want to come out. So I like to grab a pliers to help persuade them out. So the next thing you're going to want to do is take the top suspension mounts off. So you're going to remove this bolt so that the whole front bumper can fall forward so you can get to the screw inside. So now that you've removed those, it will give you access to the screws in there that go through both of the shocks. So next step is to remove those on each side. So just for reference, they are these really long ones. Take a while to get out. So next thing we're doing, taking this retainer off so that you can get the pin out for the top A-arm. So now that you have that off, you can just take a pair of pliers and grip on there and pull it off. Once you have that top pin out on both sides, you want to remove the lower sway bar end link mount right there. So once you have all those out, next thing you're going to want to do is clean up your workspace, because you're going to need some room for the next part. So after that, you're going to want to put it up onto something so that the front end can come out. So I'm going to try to get this on video of pulling this front end out. So what you're going to want to do, sorry about the noise, is basically pull this down, lift the truck up, and then pull the whole front bulkhead forward and down. And there you go. the whole assembly comes out as one. So the reason why I'm taking mine apart is, I don't know about you guys, but my diff gets to a point, feels like there's nothing, and it makes a clicking noise. So probably ate up a tooth in there. So I'm replacing it with this part number, 8578 ring gear differential pinion gear for the front, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So now that you have the front end out of the truck, you're going to want to remove these 6 2.5 mil. So the 4 right there and the 2 right there, and that will give the give you access to the actual inner workings of the differential. So now with that removed, this paints the whole picture right here. Monkey metal gears, broke off 3 teeth off the planetary gear. The pinion actually looks all right, but the planetary gear did take a beating. So for this repair on my UDR, I'm only going to replace the planetary gear here. I'm not replacing, I think I actually will replace the pinion, just have both new parts, but if you need to rebuild the diff, there'll be a separate video on that. Then as you can see, broken pieces, broken teeth, a bunch of shit is in there. Just clean that out really good and re-grease.